Check it out, I'm sitting right here with a brand new Bluetooth MIDI controller, the TempoKEY W25 by Synido. And stick around, I want to let y'all know why I think Synido is like David versus Goliath, going up against some of these giant corporations of these music production brands, doing something that none of them are doing. All right, so now just looking at some of the basics of the keyboard. Of course, it's Bluetooth. This thing is packed. You can see on the surface with knobs, pads, buttons, and all kinds of things. But looking at the I/O from the back briefly, there's a MIDI through, MIDI out, MIDI in. You got a USB-C, you got a sustain jack, power switches on the side here. So it's got more I/O than the standard MIDI controller, especially something at this size. It's 25 mini keys. Looking at the back, there is no compartment for batteries because this thing has a built-in lithium battery, so it is very portable and self-sufficient. I've got my SP-404 Mark II over here to the side, and a lot of times when I buy these MIDI controllers, I like to test them out and see what is like the functionality with the 404, because 404 is a very portable sampler. So I'd like to show like a hybrid setup idea, running this keyboard as a controller while also using the Bluetooth to control an Android phone device and controlling FL Studio Mobile. All right, so this is a standard thing I always display. This is whenever I'm doing like a video demonstrating a MIDI controller with the SP-404, you got to get yourself the Boss MIDI cable, okay? And I'll put the link in the description for that, because there are many types of these 1/8" MIDI cables, like type A, type B, maybe there's a C out there, and you need the right one. The wrong type of cable will not work. So it's a safe bet if you go ahead and get yourself the Boss cable. So I will put the link in the description. So in order to connect these two, there's a MIDI output. It's the 1/8" here in the middle, and then from there we'll go to the input of the SP-404 Mark II. All right, so on bank B, I've got a bass tone, and if I want to activate chromatic mode, I'll do that here. And then if I want to be able to access that from the key bed, the way that I do that is shift, and then I can turn this channel knob, it's labeled right here, channel, and switch this to channel 16. So if I want to control my drum sounds, bank A, from the pads, there is a note mode for the pads, and you have all these different modes for the pads, and I'll go over those. I'll go over some of them, the ones that I'm using in this specific workflow. Right now it's set to CC, but if I change that to notes, I have access to pad bank A right there. And if I want this correct, I got to go to the system settings, MIDI, and then if I look down here, there's different MIDI modes. You have A and B. So just leaving it on A should give you the access to that. And the way that this works is that every channel is a different bank. So if I wanted to control bank B on the pads, then I would switch these pads to channel 2. So now I'll briefly demonstrate the Bluetooth connection to my Android phone. And this is what's known as like low energy Bluetooth, something like that, BLE. And so there's an app that you need to download, MIDI plus BTLE on Android. I believe you could do this with like an iPhone if you have GarageBand. Just going into GarageBand will work. But if I click on this and then press the Bluetooth button here, wait for the light to come on, and then scan, and there is the TempoKEY W25. Click on that. Now it's connected. So this is an essential step before you go into, say, like a program like Koala. But I'm going to be using FL Studio today. So go into FL, and we see in the settings, the Synido is there. It's connected. So now, of course, one more connection so I get this linked up to the SP would be to use the Bluetooth audio. So I got a USB-C to USB-C cable right here for that purpose. Now I got audio coming into the SP. All right, so I'm gonna move into looking at some of the knob stuff, the knob bank. But a quick little note, if you look at the shift button right now, it's lit up. You can set this shift button to be momentary or have a toggle. So I can just press, and that way I get access to these knobs that have functions, and you can see the functions under them. Like this is, a lot of this is for the ARP. So you have division, mode, octave, swing, latch, sync, gate, tempo, and this one is channel, which we used earlier to change the channel of the keys. So if I press and hold this orange button here and then press the shift button, I'll get this screen that says momentary or toggle. So I can switch it to momentary, and that way I need to hold this and then I can access these. If that's the way I want to work, I can. So my preference was to keep it on toggle and then just be able to press and let go. That being said, there are knob banks, and if I press on the knob bank button, there's two banks. So that means I can program these knobs twice. So I have a set of, what is it, 9 knobs that can be programmed. So that's a total of 18 knobs. So if I leave it on bank A, one cool thing is that there are some pre-map functions that seem to work with FL Studio. So if I turn this knob, I have volume control of my instruments going on in FL, and then this knob right here next to it will do a panning. Another cool thing right out the box, if I switch this knob bank over to knob bank B, then these top 3 knobs are actually pre-mapped and already functional with the SP. So if I turn on my MFX, right, and let's hold remain so we can see the screen up. Looking at the screen, now these 3 knobs are already functioning with this. So I got control 1, I got the frequency on the 404 vinyl sim, then I've got the noise control here. And then over here, I've got while flutter. So I think that's super dope that like right out this box, this thing is not only working to affect some basic controls in FL Studio, but also MFX in your SP-404. So it's kind of like already set to be the perfect controller for your SP-404. Now I did one other video with a Synido keyboard that's not a Bluetooth one, which I thought was the perfect MIDI controller to control SP-404. And the reason why I say Synido is the new David, they're out here slaying giants. This machine right here, and just something that Synido seems to be doing now on all of their controllers, is giving you the ability to program every single knob and pad directly from the hardware. Now, most other companies, you have to download some sort of control software for programming. So this is why this is perfect for using this with hardware gear. So here's another cool thing that you can program with the SP-404. So if I go into my MFX, I'm gonna hold remain there for a second. What I've done is I've programmed this bottom knob to actually be able to select a different MFX. So there it is. I can pretty much turn it off or go through different effects. And then it's something you can take note by the value here on the screen. And maybe it's something that you could write down to be useful for you if you're controlling the SP-404, because I've noticed that, for example, I like the 404 vinyl sim a lot, right? So if I turn this all the way to 19, it's going to set it to the MFX for the vinyl sim. And there's my vinyl sim. Okay, so if I want to program any of these knobs to control the SP-404, program this directly from the hardware. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to program, since these top 3 controls for the MFX are already programmed to the SP-404's functions within MFX, right? I want to program these. I'm going to start by just programming this knob to control 4, because we have different layers. For some effects, for the vinyl sim, there's only 1 page, but if we switch over to, say, the cassette, there are two pages if I press and hold the control knob. So I can control these from here by programming this to control 4, 5, and 6. Now, there is a MIDI implementation chart for the SP-404 Mark II that's available online, and I can link it in the description. I'll do that for y'all. So I do know by looking at that control 4 is CC number 80, and the way that you do anything with this to control any parameter, any knob, pad, button, whatever, is press and hold this orange button, this knob, and then turn the knob that you want to program. Okay, and now I have a little screen of different things that I can change. So I'm gonna scroll over to number, click again, and now that gives me the ability to change this. So I'm gonna change this. It's right now it's at 13. Don't know how well you can see it on the screen. Trying to get everything in here, but I'm going to switch this. Now turn this knob to 80. And then just press the button, press the knob. Now you can turn the knob, and now it will have control of that. So if we'll hold remain there and turn this MFX on, now press and hold so you can see that is now controlling the drive for the cassette sim. So control 4, that second layer of the MFX window there. So I can go on and program all these, and then I'm really set to be controlling whatever I want in here. Yeah, so Synido really slaying giants with this one. I give them all the respect. I feel like they're a company that is growing and really innovating. All right, so another cool thing, like if you want to use this controller just with FL Studio Mobile specifically, you have transport controls that work automatically. So there's an MMC option. If you click on that, transport control will light up. And if you look at FL Studio Mobile over there, I can press play and it's controlling the play button over there. If I press stop, it'll stop. If I hit record, record lights up and I can start recording some notes. Also, a cool new thing with the Roland SP-404's looper, I can actually, if I click off MMC, what I've done is programmed these transport controls to control looper functions. So if I go into the looper here, if I press rec, it's going to ready my looper and it's going to start recording because now I'm talking into it, so it's recording something. It's rec, it's going to ready my looper, and so I can stop it by pressing the rec again. It's rec, I can overdub my looper and it's going to start recording because now I'm talking into it, so it's recording something. It's rec. So the stop actually is controlling the exit function. So if you ever like had, let's say like let's go out here a sample. Let me set this sample to turn the gate off. It's just gonna play out, right? So if you ever had like long samples playing in the SP, it's kind of annoying. What you got to do is you got to like triple click the exit button, or you can hold shift and press exit. But what this has done is this works both for the looper and really everything that's going on in the SP-404. By programming, I programmed this stop button to be the exit. So if I press that, then I'm already going to stop anything that's playing in the SP. So I think that's pretty cool. So again, also pads can be programmed as well. And I've used the pads to program it to do other things other than hitting notes, right? Because we have the notes section here. We got the CC section. And then I also have pad bank. So on pad bank A, what I've done is I've set this to do like delete and undo within the loop. I can overdub my looper, and so if I hit stop and then press that pad, it's now deleted it, and now there's nothing in the looper. I can now go ahead and start over. And then the play button over here will actually do like an overdub, I believe. And then I've programmed this pad to do like an undo thing. If I hit play, undo, and it's removed that second layer. I had to do like an undo thing, but I can undo and redo. Another interesting thing about that is I don't have to be in the actual looper to access the looper from the MIDI controller. So if I exit that, start the looper here, it's already looping. My voice is going into it, so it's actually recording that. Start the looper here, it's already looping. My voice is going into it, so it's actually recording that. Start the looper. Okay, so getting into one of the essential things when it comes to like mini MIDI controllers for me, scales and chord modes. We do have chord mode. And you can see there's chords triggering over here in FL Studio. I prefer to focus on scale mode, you know, but chord mode is there if you need it. If you hold the chord and then press these, you have these labels over these keys. I can do sevenths, ninth chords, triads. So scale mode. Scale mode's cool. You can select your same kind of method, hold scale button, select a different key from the actual corresponding key. And it's all written above the keys here. And then you got scale types: major, minor, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, that HM, and then Locrian. So I'm just going to go to minor. And then another thing you can do, which is cool, is you got two modes for the keyboard. If you press and hold the orange knob and then press scale, you'll see that you have tonic and fixed do. So fixed do is kind of the standard thing you'll see on most keyboards. A note is not in the scale. What it'll do is just repeat. It'll repeat a note on that key. So really not my preference. I prefer the key just to be silent if it's not in there. Or what like Novation calls it the easy scale. Synido has what's called tonic. So it puts the tonic, which is the root note of the scale, on C. So whatever key you're in, that'll start here, and then you'll just have. So you can pretty much play your scale like you're playing C major, and you won't go out of key. Right. Another cool thing that I've done is, like I said, there's pad bank. So I'm on pad bank A, did some controls for the looper, delete and undo. If I switch over to pad bank B, what I've done was I've set these actually for all of the MFX. So I actually have 1 through 4, not really utilizing 3 and 4 at this point. And I still need to program the knobs to do MFX submix 2, right? Bus FX 2 or bus 2. But what I've done here is I set the pad to a mute of MFX. So if I press this pad, I can turn the MFX on and off. So I definitely think this can be a very cool workflow. As you can see, I was kind of like just fumbling around trying to figure it out. I'm getting used to the workflow using the looper, but having this keyboard in combination with like a smartphone, something like FL Studio, where it's wirelessly controlling that, and I got the USB audio going into the SP so that I can sample things, plus also having the MIDI out into the SP so I can control the MFX, which affect the sounds coming in from the FL Studio mobile app, and then just being able to switch through the different MFX. Use the transport control to control the looper, start and stop it, undo things. It's a nice workflow, something that I'm not yet haven't got into the workflow and mastered yet, but it has a lot of potential and really opens up this SP for, you know, better creative workflow situations. You know what I mean? So it's a great purchase, being that it's standalone, built-in battery. Let me know if this is something you're interested in. I would like to see it in the comments. Of course, links in the description to the item will be there as well. I'd appreciate y'all. Y'all bless. Keep on running with your dreams. Peace.